Mr. Contreras, thank you for joining us on TVC News Hour. Now, I know we have had these talks before and how the South Sudan crisis keeps growing by the day, but is there any reason for the South Sudanese to celebrate?
Well, 3 years ago, as your report indicated, the people of South Sudan realized a lifelong dream, namely to acquire their own independent sovereign nation. Yes, there has been a lot of disappointment with the course that events have taken, particularly in the last 6 months. However, South Sudan remains a sovereign country, and there are celebrations taking place in Juba today that will be attended by some visiting chiefs of state, including the presidents of Uganda and Kenya, reportedly. So it is a somber occasion, certainly, but at least the people of South Sudan still have their own country, a country they can call their own.
Now, Mr. Contreras, you've said it all. Needless to say that the available data points to South Sudan being a failed state, so to speak, and now leaders who are supposed to be at the peace talks have refused to talk. Shouldn't the international community do more to bring this men to order?
The international community has called on the leaders of both sides to the crisis to put the interests of their nation above their own narrow political agendas and arrive at a comprehensive political settlement and hammer out a transitional government of national unity as soon as possible. The leaders themselves, President Salva Kiir Mayardit and his former Vice President Riek Machar, agreed to a 60-day deadline at their most recent meeting in Addis Ababa, and that 60-day time frame comes to an end on August the 10th. In her departing press statement, the former head of the UN peacekeeping mission, Hilda Johnson, said yesterday that the blame for this man-made disaster lies squarely with the political leadership of South Sudan. And the United Nations has certainly added its voice to the rising chorus in the international community, calling on the leaders to arrive at a peace agreement as soon as possible.
All right, some of those bearing the brunt of this crisis in South Sudan are the children and women. How is the malnutrition problem affecting the children? Who are the future leaders of South Sudan being treated right now?
Well, right now we're getting many cases of people suffering from severe acute malnutrition, particularly in our compound north of the Unity State capital of Bentiu, in the northern part of South Sudan. We are also, unfortunately, registering cases of children under 5 who are dying of malnutrition. And we're looking at something on the order of about 1.2 million people who will be on the brink of famine next year, because the planting season in South Sudan has largely come and gone, and it has been very, very badly disrupted by the hostilities taking place in various parts of the country. So yes, the United Nations is gravely concerned about the rising incidence of malnutrition, and humanitarian partners are doing everything possible to get food and also dehydration tablets to those affected as soon as possible.
Now, as the country celebrates 3 years of independence, or in a somber mood, analysts are reflecting and saying that federalism, the entrenchment of federalism and the building of viable institutions will help move the nation forward. But with the nature of the tribal structure in South Sudan, will that be easy?
I don't think it will be easy. There is a very, very robust debate going on now within the ruling party here in South Sudan, the Sudan People's Liberation Movement, about the desirability of federalism. The division seems to go along somewhat regional lines. Many South Sudanese in the southern part of the country favor federalism and a devolution of power, whereas people, particularly in the northern part of the country, where the president Salva Kiir Mayardit is from, seem to favor a more centralized structure of power, which is basically a fair description of the current system of government in the country. This debate has been playing out in the local news media and also in various public fora, and there seems to be no consensus emerging yet as to whether federalism should be adopted in a permanent constitution that would be adopted after the formation of a transitional government.
All right, many thanks, Joe Conterass, the acting spokesman for the United Nations mission in South Sudan, for discussing with us the third independence anniversary of the country and, of course, the crisis plaguing the country.